Hi, it's me. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome aboard the MiG-17AS. So, the astute of you might have already noticed that the footage for this video is old, very old. In fact, I recorded it over a year ago, and I just never got around to finishing the video. Now, I do have a more present, up-to-date video on the way for another aircraft, but in the meantime, I figured it would be good to show this footage and get a video out, even if it's a bit out of date. So before we get onto the plane, in the year that I've been gone, it seems that your channel has actually grown to 1,000 subscribers, which, that's kind of neat. Thank you for everybody who's subscribed, and I hope you're not too disappointed that I don't put out videos very regularly. I'll do my best to put out a few more since I am enjoying the game a bit more now, but I do have a full-time job, and YouTube is very much just a little side hobby for me, so I hope you understand. So, MiG-17AS. This was one of my first premium jets, actually. I bought this way back when I think the top tier meta was still MiG-21 versus F4. And of course its history goes back even further than that. I personally think the MiG-17AS specifically symbolizes War Thunder's transition from a primarily gun-based meta to a missile-based meta. So for those of you who remember way back when, the meta used to be F-Sabres versus MiG-15s, and then the next became Super Sabres versus MiG-19s, which is kind of when the MiG-17AS was first introduced. And now we're all the way up to 4th generation Gripen versus Su-27, which actually is the tier that I'm trying to climb to currently. But that's neither here nor there. So, what do I think about the MiG-17? It's definitely been power crept. It used to be in contention for the strongest plane of the game, for a few months at least, and now it just is outclassed every single game. It faces supersonics every game. At 9.0, the stats on paper for the MiG-17 are honestly very mediocre. The top speed on the deck is about the same as an F-Sabre, which, you know, you can get at 8.7. The climb speed is only marginally better than the MiG-15, which you can get at 8.3. And finally, the tech tree variant doesn't even get missiles, and it's still 9.0. Personally, I think the tech tree MiG-17 should be 8.7, but 9.0, the flight performance just isn't that impressive on paper. And of course, who can forget the notoriously difficult to aim combination of 23 and 37mm cannons. My apologies in advance, this might be painful for some of you to watch. in my defense, I have had a year to perfect my aim since, and I swear, I promise, it's better now. But that's just the thing. Who needs to aim when you have missiles, right? So the MiG-17 is actually, I think, the lowest battle rating Soviet aircraft to carry air-to-air missiles, which seems a bit pay to win, and is also very frustrating because Soviet mid-tier jets have hot garbage when it comes to missiles, especially compared to their native counterparts. Nonetheless, the MiG-17's R3S missiles are capable of pulling off some pretty consistent kills as long as you know which targets to go for. Now, target prioritization with these early missiles can sometimes be a game of psychology. You want to go for the people that seem like they are not checking their 6 and also will not accidentally dodge the missile by just turning randomly. A lot of the time, you can get away with targeting players that seem like they're new to the game and have just picked up a premium jet. For example, the AV-8A. Pretty sure that thing has close to 300 flares, but when you don't know where your flare key is, you might as well have 0. One thing to keep in mind with these early missiles is you should definitely treat them as very expendable. They weigh down your plane, and the majority of the time you will be more effective with your guns. In the modern meta, when you're facing planes like the A-10 or the Su-25 with all aspect missiles, you can actually use your R3Ss in the head-on to decoy the missiles and get into gun range. Or alternatively, in a situation like the one on screen, if the enemy that you're attacking has been crippled but is running away from you, you can use the missile to finish them off. Now, the kind of scenario you're about to see is the scenario that I find myself most frequently in when I fly the MiG-17. You're going to be harassed from multiple directions by planes that are often way faster or higher energy than you, and this is okay, because the MiG-17 is good at one thing: turning in circles. You can sit on the elevator on this plane, and it takes a very long time for it to actually bleed at speed, and because of this, you can kind of just rate with all of the enemies around you indefinitely. You can just turn in circles and stay out of everybody's guns until your team shows up or somebody makes a mistake and you manage to get a snapshot on them. Now, obviously this doesn't work if anybody has all aspect missiles, but in this footage, those were not at this battle rating yet. And even in the current meta, it's not too difficult to wait until the missile carriers are out of missiles before you go and engage them. Now this part looks bad, but I swear I was just trying to get a kill assist. As you can see, I'm not firing the 37mm. Please don't cancel me. Let's talk about how I feel about the MiG-17AS in the current meta. So, I do think that this is one of those timeless planes whose flight performance is meta enough that even though it is currently relatively frequently outclassed, especially in an up tier, it is still a plane worthy of your time. I personally find it to be a very enjoyable premium. I get high kill games in it pretty frequently, and except for those rare occasions where, 5 A10s show up on your screen and all the AIM-9Ls just start flying at you, there's not too much that the MiG-17 can't handle, even though it's not really the most powerful jet at its battle rating. If you're a fan of the MiG-15, or if you're somebody who is looking for an introduction to missile combat, I think the MiG-17AS is honestly one of the best planes that you can get for the Russian tech tree when it comes to premiums. But before the A-10s and Su-25s became the scourge of 10.0 with their all-aspect missiles, there was another missile-based menace that terrorized the skies of War Thunder, and that, of course, was the Harrier GR1. And so today, in commemoration of those days past, I shall end off with a video of me shooting down 2 of them. Enjoy!